Born and raised in Düsseldorf, siblings Tushar and Shika Ahluwalia have a habit of slipping into German during conversations. They also complete each other's sentences, which underlines their comfort on personal and professional levels. When the duo co-founded Stock by Love, a women's e-commerce portal, they realized that the best way to stay ahead of competition was to own control of every aspect of the business, from purchase of raw material, design, manufacturing and marketing. And like most millennials their age, they don't believe in letting grass grow under their feet, as they outline how they plan to keep racing ahead.
I think there were a couple of proof points. I think when you start out, you don't know what will happen in 10 years. So there is an element of conviction always when you start the business. And the other thing is that we know that there were founders with similar background like ours have built phenomenal businesses in the UK. And the third is we saw sort of economics for example, for Jabong, etc. We understood the economics there, and we understood how our business could overcome potentially the economics that are sort of prevalent in the Indian market. I think given the tight basket size in the online world, economics have always been more tough, especially in the first phase of e-commerce in India, fashion e-commerce. And the question was, how do you, a lot of questions, if you ask in the VC space, back then it was all about CAC, how can you reduce customer acquisition cost? But if you looked at it, lifetime values were negative already at contribution level. So it doesn't matter the CAC, every customer is a negative contributor to the bottom line. We thought that with our model, which is completely different than most of the models, because I think in contrast to the average sort of, or the general engineering VC entrepreneur that started sort of more of a marketplace kind of model, where the typical sort of VC entrepreneur would source from a lot of suppliers and then be sort of a marketplace between suppliers and customers. We are a vertically integrated model, so we own our own inventory. We have a system to make our SKU level purchase decisions. We believe we have an optimized system. We have a data-driven system that allows us to be invested in the right kind of inventory at the right time, and allows us to therefore reap a higher gross margin because we have that inventory, we own that inventory, it's a private label inventory, but at the same time we don't burn our fingers on wrong inventory decisions because of our automated and technology-driven system. At some point, and that a marketplace model may make sense in China, and I'm sure it also makes sense in India, but the thing is that on a 1,000 rupee transaction, if you have a 10% cut or a 15% cut or a 20% cut, you're speaking of 100 rupees, 200 rupees on every transaction, and that is just your sales, and in sort of in IFRS terms. So that's what, $3, and then you have logistics, and so there is no way the calculation makes sense unless you can increase the take rate or the basket size a lot. So key opinion leader led community building on the demand side, and on the supply side through this vertically integrated tech-enabled quick response supply chain that allows us to test whatever works and then scale the performers and kill the non-performing SKUs very, very quickly, to ultimately always have capital behind movers and not be invested in terms of inventory in non-movers. And so this is sort of how we thought about it. I think since then the business has definitely continued to evolve and new ideas have come in. I think maybe 5 years ago, if you asked me what is this business about, I would have said, well, this business is about quick reaction, super fast supply chain, tech-enabled supply chain. I think that has sort of moved or evolved into 3 pillars, where 5 years ago it was just 1 pillar. And that is pillar number 1 is raving SBL fan community through social media, through Instagram and YouTube, KOL-led sort of communication, In fact, Shika has developed through somewhat of a KOL in the Instagram sort of community that SVL has. The second pillar is quick reaction supply chain, tech-enabled supply chain, understanding what works and optimizing your catalog on a data-driven way that sort of takes the input from the community and serves the community with what the community wants in real time. And the third layer and third pillar that we've started to execute in the last quarter is omni-channel. So where we are taking our learnings that we get online on every customer, on every pin code, every kind of data, and use that to really cater and craft a collection in very, very quick time from our main online catalog that suits that persona in that store. And we're seeing phenomenal results in that. For example, our first store is outperforming most of our peers, from day one we were able to score a 15% EBITDA margin, which for an e-commerce company, any EBITDA margin is sounds already crazy. Positive EBITDA margin sounds crazy. So these three pillars and our ability and our I would say success to have built a strong brand online is really playing out in those offline touch points as well.